David Wygant, 10-minute daily reality check. Today, we are going to talk about how not to throw pots and pans. Today, we're going to talk about how not to go and run them over when they pick up the kids. Today, we're going to talk about how you really, it's hard to do, we're humans, how not to badmouth your ex after you go through the battles or the pre-battles of a divorce. Call it the pregame show of a divorce if you're a sports fan. Call it whatever you want to call it, but we have that ugly word called divorce. And to me, it's always a beautiful word. It's a word that means that you tried to make a relationship work and it did not work. And for the sake of the children and your own sanity, you are going to start fresh. And I think it's a brand new way of looking at things because a lot of people stay together for the sake of the children. But I've been coaching the sake of the children divorced kids for a long, long time. And I got to tell you, most of you are screwed up because you saw your parents hate on each other. And that's how you thought relationships were supposed to be. So I've got somebody straight from the UK. God, I love the UK. It was funny. I was talking to her assistant before and she says, oh, Los Angeles. And that's how you call it, Los Angeles. I love how you put it. You have such beautiful weather. And I'm like, oh God, screw the weather. The weather is boring. It's Thursday. I can go down to Spitalfield Market in East London and go check out a vintage fair. I could go walk around neighborhoods that have personalities where I don't have to get in a car and curse out the person in front of me because my sciatica is kicking in and I can't stand the traffic. You guys have beautiful, beautiful culture, but yet you have divorce too. So today I have Sheela Mackintosh Stewart. She's a former family law barrister. I love the term barristers. For those of you who don't know what barristers are, look it up. I'm not going to explain it to you. She left the legal profession, thank God, because there's nothing worse than divorce attorneys. Any attorney that you get to hand over all your financials to, it's like literally going to the dentist. It's pure faith. She has now become a relationship guru and a divorce lawyer with over 30 years experience. So she is on a crusade to aid healthy relationships and prevent marriage breakdowns by going against the grain and practical relationship advice. So she's got this cool company called families.co.uk or ifamilies.co.uk. So today we're going to talk about one thing, and one thing that I think is really important. It's called coping strategies immediately after separating from a partner. When the coal is hot and the irons are burning and the hate is about to take in, Sheela, what do you do? What are some of the coping strategies for people so they're actually looking at this person as a potential co-parent, life partner, strategy partner, and really just not hating on each other, because why hate on somebody who's shown you some of your greatest lessons ever? So tell us, please. I know we're all ears.
Hello. My name is Sheela Mackintosh Stewart. So I run this company called ifamiliesuk.com. And David is right. I trained as a barrister, an English barrister, and became a solicitor. And now I have moved away from doing straight law. So a lot of what I do involves helping couples break up harmoniously without using lawyers. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on without having to go to court. And it's trying to help couples or families have better post-divorce relationships. So today I gather you want to talk about coping strategies.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people, and I want to tell you, it's amazing. The word divorce hits, and then the battles for money, and then the people who think they deserve more money, and then the battles over the kids, and the battles over the house, and the battles over the quinoa, and the battles over everything. I mean, it's crazy. And for you to be able to give that, it's funny because I really wanted to do that service here because I just see people ruining lives and ruining themselves and ruining financially and ruining this, because in any divorce, the only people who are making out are the lawyers. They're the only ones who are making the money. For every hour of legal aid that you take, it's another hour of vacation you can never take. So what are these coping strategies? Because I'd love to hear them to keep people feel peaceful.
So a lot of the coping strategies, if a client comes to me, I start the coping strategy talk at the beginning, because a lot of the time, a lot of people, by the time they finish with lawyers, they are absolutely broken. So a lot of what I do is talking about some of these strategies during the breakup itself. So one of the things that is really, really important at the time of negotiating settlement is talking about what I call a post-family unit plan. So sort of making the couples think about what it's like to be a family unit post-divorce. So this, by thinking about this at that stage, it helps with some of the issues that crop up post-divorce
Okay.
when it's not managed well. So we talk about, so in the post-divorce, in the sort of family unit plan, we talk about, what does it look like post-divorce in terms of access to children, in terms of sharing custody. Should the father be living closer to the family home? Because one of the big angst amongst families is, the wife who generally has the children struggles to look after the children with very little money often, and without any help. So by dealing with some of those issues, we reduce the sort of the need for coping strategies later on. So that's one thing. You touched on the point about not bad mouthing your ex, which is so vital in any sort of breakup, because one of the things I notice a lot in breakups is, it's generally the wives struggle with the breakup. And so, because again, I'm slightly generalizing here, but in a lot of situations, the husband walks and the wife gets left with the children. So she's very angry and very bitter. So there's a lot of dumping of her personal feelings on the children. And so the poor kids are really, lumbered with, not only the father's grief, but the mother's grief as well. And, it's sort of like boils up and it affects them quite adversely. So often I say to the mothers, you have to find ways of not dumping on the children, which includes not talking about your ex, because it's not fair on the children. So go and get some help, go and, get some professional help, and just find a way to be strong women, because ultimately your kids' well-being depend on how strong you are as women. So that's also a very important thing, is not to badmouth your ex. But separation from a partner is devastating, and emotions run high as they roller coaster in an unpredictable state of flux. There are many stages of loss, as an bereavement. It's not quite the same thing, but it's equivalent. So you've got the denial, this can't be happening to me; anger, it's not fair; there's a bargaining, I will do anything to change; it's the depression, I feel so sad; it's the acceptance, I'm letting go; and then there's the forgiveness. There is no one-size-fits-all coping strategy. I've noticed with my clients that the three most effective ways are facing your fears, being prepared, and changing your thoughts and attitudes. Now, facing your fears includes getting clarity and coming to terms constructively with your breakup. So a proven therapeutic technique, which I sort of talk to my clients quite regularly about, is to transfer your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions onto paper by writing your own separation journal. So you start the sentence with, I feel, for example, worried. And then you set out your emotion, which is fear. And then the next step, you ask yourself to take what actions you can take to fix it. For example, I need to earn more money. And your action plan, for example, I need to research part-time teaching jobs. And now this is a very good way of doing this. And I find it's quite transformational to many clients. The other very important vital coping strategy is being fully prepared, and that is something entirely within your control, to be mentally, physically, legally, and practically prepared for challenging times ahead. This includes maintaining normality in your day-to-day life, attending the practicalities of everyday life, getting legal advice to ascertain where you stand financially, and most importantly, it means looking after yourself, having a healthy diet, exercise, getting enough sleep to maintain energy, health, and mental stamina. The third strategy I often sort of talk to clients about is building your mental muscles to manage your thoughts and attitudes. It's a must, because doing this will hasten the healing and recovery process. Now, your emotions and your behavior are driven by your thoughts. So moving your thoughts away from upsetting ones is a very useful strategy. This can be done using effective techniques like creating stocks of happy thoughts and avoiding the blame game, because you also have to take some responsibility for your part in the breakup. So there are three good strategies there, which
Cool. Question for you, because there's a lot of people that go into victim mode.
Yeah.
And they create the victim story. Then they have a sense of entitlement over money. You know, they believe that they should get money. They believe, and you hear this a lot, you know, from a lot of the people that I've coached, that the husband's got way more money. He's got to be
Yeah.
hiding money, you
Yeah.
know, and it's, you hear that a lot. And it's this sense of entitlement. He's hiding money. It's my money. It's, you know, this was not supposed to be my life. And you hear a lot of the victim stories that come. I've coached a lot of people, and they'll tell me, oh, he did this, or she did this, and she did this. And how do you prevent somebody from this sense of entitlement getting even? Because it's a very subconscious way of behavior. You know, you see I always say people who get even are getting even subconsciously, and some people are very conscious about it. But most of it, I think, is a very subconscious sense of entitlement that they have based on a story that was not fulfilled on what the wedding or the marriage or whatever the family was supposed to be. So how do you, when you dive deep into that, because you see that a lot, how do you work through that, you know, with people? Because I get the victim stories thrown at me a lot.
I mean, that's a very good question. Now, a lot of these ideas and myths is driven by what they hear from their friends, what they read in the news or misread in the news. And, you know, there is also something called a common law myth, where that you know, you marry somebody that you will get, if you're not married to somebody, you cohabit with somebody, you will automatically get 50% of whatever the final assets are. This is just simply not true. For married couples, there's a presumption of, you know, a 50-50 split. Now, I don't know what the law is like in America, but in Britain, there is no presumption of equality. The courts start with a standpoint that, you know, in a marriage, you are equal partners, therefore you should have equality in breakup. But that is just the starting point. You know, then they delve further into the sort of circumstances of the case to see whether or not this is a case that warrants equality. So, you know, people automatically assume that they're entitled to 50-50. Now, one of the ways I deal with this is to talk to people about what I call PIN, position, interest, and needs. Okay. Ultimately, what really happens in a divorce breakup, or, you know, in a marital breakup, is the courts are addressing needs. Not what you think, not what you think your position is or what your interest should be, but what is your need. So by giving them that clarity around needs, you know, it does resolve some of this issue. And also helping them understand that there is different sides to the story as well, because they often only think about themselves and not sort of the general picture. So if they say, oh, actually, so I have clients, women who come to me and says, you know, at least 50%, if not 70%. And then I say, well, actually, hang on a minute. If you say 70%, how is your other half going to manage, you know, in terms of housing, in terms of, you know, meeting his needs? So by explaining, you know, the global picture of how it works, actually, they get it. They eventually do get it. It takes a bit of time, because obviously,
Sure.
again, you also depends on whether you're speaking to the person who's been wronged or the person who has left. So the person who is wronged obviously has got a different mindset and expectation to the one who has left. So a lot of time it's about managing PIN and managing expectations.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just these expectations and these stories, and you've been wronged. And I've always taken it this way. Every relationship that ends for a reason. Two people helped that relationship end. Two people created that outcome. Two people did it, not one person. So there's nobody wrong. Two people created the outcome, and there are two people that really set forth that new reality. So this getting even, sense of entitlement, victim mentality never flies with me, because the fact of the matter is, I don't care if it's divorce or a couple that's been out for a year. There are reasons on both sides. Both of you did not come to the table and really make that relationship be what it should have been. You're both equally at fault. So nobody should leave with a higher financial payment. You know, we are all in a divorce. A father leaves, a mother leaves. We split the kids up. This is all not what anybody really wants. But the fact is, nobody should be hurting. Everybody has to work. Nobody should be hurting more than the other person. You know, it's just, it didn't work, and it's time to grow. And that's where the personal growth goes as a soul. And as you evolve, if you're continually thinking about how you were wronged and continually looking for entitlement or continually looking in your story, then you haven't really grown, and you're going to take that dynamic into your next relationship. But, you know, Sheila, even more important, your kids are going to learn that dynamic. Your kids are going to learn how to be victims. your kids are going to learn how to be entitled. Your kids are going to learn how to do that. And it's you do it for the sake of the children. It's not only the bad mouthing. I think the bad mouthing is bad, but I think it's the energy and the actions that we portray around it where the kids are picking it up, because I see it. It's so easy. When I'm working with somebody, I'll look at where they're at and I'll say, your parents are divorced, right? And they go, yeah, how did you know? And I said, your dad left your mom. How do you know? Your mom was really angry and she dated a lot of guys and she said that men suck and you need to, you're a woman and you need to be able to take care of yourself. And that's why you feel like you don't need men. She goes, how do you know? Because it's easy. It's just patterns. We're giving our kids these patterns because that's all we're doing as adults, is that we're living the generational programming that our parents gave us, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or nasty. So thank you for sharing your viewpoint today. I really like it. Everybody can have peaceful divorce. So you would work with people all over the world, I presume, right?
Very happy to work with people because, whether you're in, as you say, in America, Britain, Asia, everybody has the same issues when it comes to relationship breakup. The same themes happen again and again, and it's about working. The first thing you have to do is work on yourself. I always say, before you can have truly love another person or be with another person, you really have to work on yourself. You got to be in a good place. Otherwise, you carry all your, as you say, all your hang-ups and your misgivings into a relationship, and it's just disaster. So
I agree. So where can they get you to prevent disaster?
Where can they get me? They can come to me at ifamiliesuk.com, or you can give me a buzz on, I give you my mobile, or you can email me at sheelamac@ifamiliesuk.com.
Beautiful. Thank you for participating today. And for the rest of you who don't have divorce reality, just listen to this advice today, because you never know. Your reality might be a divorce one day. So you might need this advice, or you might be able to prevent this from happening. It's all about knowledge. Sheela, thanks for joining the show today. I appreciate it. And the rest of you, spread,
Thank you
share.
so much for having me.
You're welcome.